Rubenstein from the Educational Technology Department. I am so excited that you're joining us this morning to learn about Sway. Sway is a Microsoft application from Office 365 that, Microsoft application from Office 365 that can help you create and share interactive reports, personal stories, presentations, e-portfolios, and so much more. By adding your own text and pictures, Sway can do the rest. The best part about Sway is that once you add all of your content, it will create the presentation for you. Today, we're going to learn how to access Microsoft Sway, how to create a storyline where we can add contact cards using text and images, videos, audio. We can even embed sways or embed anything with an embed code into a sway, upload a file, and add different groups of images or text. Sway will help us design with different styles that are already part of the platform that we can just click and decide how we want to show how the sway looks. And then we're going to learn how to share our sway with others. This is a wonderful addition to your digital tool belt. So many times as we are teaching remotely, we are having our students show us what they've learned, and it's important to offer choice to our students. And Sway is one of those ways. It is a digital application that's similar to many others that you might be familiar with. And by learning this and teaching it to our students, it's helpful to show that there are many ways to create presentations. So before we begin, we are going to learn how we can access Microsoft Sway, and that is by going through the district portal. When you're in the district portal, you can either, if you see Office 365, you can scroll down and click on that, or if you don't see it, you can go ahead and type in Office 365 and you will see the tile there. If you right-click on that, you can add it to your favorites. So once you click on Office 365, that will then take you to the Office 365 portal where you have all of your tiles, and Sway is one of them. So to begin, we will go ahead and click on Sway. And as you enter Sway, you're going to see many options. You can begin with a blank sway, which we're going to do in a minute. You can start from a document. There's also many different templates that you can click, and you can start with one of these, which is really, really helpful because it has the whole format started for you. And as you create your sways, they are automatically saved, which is really, really nice. And you'll see them all listed down here. Another nice part is I want to show you these analytics. So as you start using Sway, if you share with your students or you put one in your Google Classroom or you send it to parents, you can easily see how many views that particular Sway has had, which is really, really handy. So to begin, I want to show you two examples of sways, and then I'm going to show you how you can build one. So first, this is what a sway looks like. This one is on Memorial Day, a holiday that we have approaching. And yes, I will be sharing this with you all if you'd like to use this in your class. And as we scroll down, here we have a narration. In this sway, we are going to learn about Memorial Day. Scroll through the items below to learn more about why this holiday is observed each year. So I'll show you how you can add narration to your sway. We also have text, we have images, and notice as I scroll down, there's a nice background, there's titles. This is known as a stack, where pictures are layered on top of each other. I embedded a video in here, a link, and then as I continue down, here is a Google form that's been embedded into the Microsoft Sway. And this would be a nice check point for students to answer just a few questions. So that is one example of a sway. Another one is, as we're coming to the end of the school year, you might want to create kind of like an e-portfolio or a culmination activity of what your students have been doing throughout the year or throughout the last few weeks of distance learning. So in this example, I actually created 6 different sways and then embedded them into one master sway. And then this could easily be shared with parents or put on a class website for others to view. And I will show you how to do that today. So that's just another nice example. Okay. When we go back to Microsoft Sway, we're going to begin with a new one by clicking right. Oop. Here we go. Okay, we're still spinning a second. Right here on a new blank sway. When we click on that, it's going to prompt us to add a title. And the way this is created is through cards. All of these cards can be added, and we're just going to click this plus sign as we go through. So before we begin, let me just show you the orientation of Sway. So we're starting off on the storyline. This is where we add our content. And then I'm going to show you how you can design. And then over on the right, we have insert, and then we're going to learn how to play and share and use those tools. So to start off with our title, I'm going to name this the water cycle. And we're going to add a background. And one of the best features of Sway is that when I click on background, notice how it already knew my topic and it created that for me. So I have water cycle here along with some other options. When I click on water cycle, this is going to auto-populate images related to whatever I type, which is so convenient. So here I can scroll down, I can find an image that I want to use. When I click on it, I can add this 2 different ways. Notice how it has this green check in the corner. I can either click right here to add, or I can drag the image over. I also want to point out that these images are Creative Commons, which is really helpful because that means we don't need to worry about copyright at all. So we will go ahead and drag that image over. And now I have my water cycle heading. To add another card, we click on plus, and here's where we have our different options. So we can add a heading, a text card, an image. We can stack, which is what I showed you earlier where things were layered. I can upload. If I click on text, here I also have those 2 options. There's also a media section where not only can I add images, but also videos, audio, which is how I narrated that example earlier, anything with an embed code, or I can upload something. And then there's other options for grouping. In addition to stacks, I can also have an automatic group, a grid, a comparison, and a slideshow. So for now, I'm going to go back to suggested, and we're going to add a text box. And in the text box, notice how I can add some text here. Okay, so let's just pretend like I had a whole thing there. And in addition to text, you can do a few things. If I highlight my text, or maybe I just want to highlight certain words of my text, I can emphasize it. This is the same as if I was going to use bold. So emphasize is like bold. Accent is the same as italics. So if I click on accent, I can see that. I can also add a bulleted list or a numbered list. So for example, if I wanted to add the steps of the water cycle, and I could then add this bulleted list, and I could go ahead and start writing them down and so on. So you can go on and on with that. You can also add a link. So to add a link, I already have a website open, so I can demonstrate this for you. When I click on link, it's going to ask me for the display text and the web link. So earlier, I found a website that is about my topic. I'm going to copy this link, and come back to my Sway, and I will paste that web link right here. And then I can type what I want my audience to see in the Sway. This is known as the display text. So click here to learn more about the water cycle. And then when I click OK, here it is. The other items you can use are on the right-hand side. We have sizes, and this is very, very basic and simple. Small and medium, that's it. And there's also, if you make a mistake, you can hit the trash can. The thing about Sway is that it really focuses on the content, not on spending hours and hours on your colors and your fonts and your animations and your transitions and all that stuff. This is really for rapid presentation design. So now that we have our text card, we're going to add another one by clicking the plus. And this time I'm going to add an image. And when I click on image, I can return to the images over here on the side, and I can drag another one of those over. I can also add an image card by changing the words up here. So Sway automatically knew that I was looking for something with the water cycle, but maybe I want something, an image of precipitation. And when I type that in, it's going to bring me different pictures of precipitation. And again, I can click on one of them, and I can either click add or I can drag it over. Another item is that, let's say you have some images already saved. You can come up here to suggested, and you can pull from your device, or if you have them in OneDrive, or if you have them in any of these places, you can search from there as well. So for now, let's go ahead and click on this one, and we will add that image. We're going to add another card by clicking the plus sign. And this time I'm going to do a media. And when we go to media, I want to show you how you can create those narration cards if you want. So this time we'll do an audio card. By clicking on audio, this is where if you had an audio file, you could drag it over here. But notice how you have this record button. And when I click on record, it's going to count me down 3, 2, 1, and then I'll be able to record something that my students, my audience, whoever sees my Sway will be able to hear. So I'll demonstrate how this works. Today, we're learning about the water cycle. So that's all it takes. You click, you can play it back. Today, we're learning about the water cycle. Now, I can re-record that. I can delete it if I don't like it. But for today's purposes, I'll go ahead and add this to my Sway, and that will be embedded in a moment. So while that's rendering, we're going to add one more slide, and then I'm going to show you how you can look at the design of your Sway. This time, we'll go to media again. And we're going to do a video card. So when we click on video, a lot of videos will pre-populate based on your topic. I still have precipitation in here, so I'm actually going to change this back to water cycle. And you can go ahead and pull one of these over, just like we pulled over our images. And it's important to look at the time. Notice how this one is 43 minutes. That's probably too long. This one's about almost 3 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this one and add it. Now, keep in mind that it's important to watch the video before you give this to your students. But for now, we'll just add that. You can also add a caption to your video, and you can add captions to your images as well. So now that we have a little bit of content, and you saw how quick and easy that was just to add, let's see how it looks. And to do that, we're going to come over here to design. When I click on design, my Sway has already started to create my presentation. It has my title, it has my background image. Notice how I have my arrows. So this one is going horizontal, and I can scroll through and see the whole thing. Now, if that looks great, if you're happy with that, you can leave it alone and voila, your presentation is created. But you might want to add a little bit of other styles to it. And to do that, if you want to have some choice of how it looks, we come up here to the right-hand side and click on Styles. And when we do that, we have some choices. You can make your sway scroll vertically, horizontally, or slides, which makes it look side by side. So I typically like to make mine go vertical. You also have all of these backgrounds that you can choose from. And when I click on one, I can see how it changes. And there's more as we scroll through. And so students really love this because, again, Sway creates the presentation for you. All you have to do as the creator is decide which style you like. And I can click on all of these and see how it looks. Another option Sway has, which is really great, is this remix button. So if you wanted to click that, Sway will automatically remix or redesign your Sway for you. And you can click that as many times as you want. Every time you're going to have a new remix. And they all look great. It's just a matter of preference. I'll do it one more time just to show you. And the thing about the remix is that if you remix 10 times and you like the third one the best, then you need to go and hit this back button until you get back to the one that you like. So there's many different styles here. Something to consider is this is a good conversation to talk about theme, because if a teacher or a student was creating a sway about, let's say, World War II, for example, that might not be the right theme for flowers, or this one that has teapots and cherries and cupcakes. And so this is a nice conversation with students about picking a style that really aligns with whatever your main idea or theme is. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and click on one like this, and there we go. So this is the easy way to create sway and choosing styles. Now, if I want to go back and add more cards to the sway, we come over here to Storyline, and then we're back to our cards where we can keep adding more content.
Dana, while you're there, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
From the chat, they were wondering why, what is the benefit of using stacks over the other options that you had there?
I'm so glad you asked. I was just about to show you stacks.
Awesome.
And I apologize for the beginning of the webinar. As soon as it started, my side monitor crashed and I wasn't sure if we were on or not. Anyways, okay.
That's okay.
So let's learn how to do a stack. What's great about a stack is that you can layer images. So let me just play this one back for a second so I could show you the difference. So here, as I look at the pictures, notice how they're separated. If I stack them, they will be on top of each other. So we're going to go back to Edit, and we are going to click on this plus sign, and there's many different ways that you can group images. So let me show you them all by clicking on Group, and we'll start with a stack. So when we do a stack, it's going to give us this gray box, and we're going to drag images in here. So to do that, I need to come back to my right side and click on Images, and I'm going to drag and drop into this box. And I'm going to drag another one, and I'm going to actually overlap this, and watch what happens. It's going to create its own card when I layer it on top. And let's just do one more for the example. So we'll click on this one, and again, I'm going to drop it on top and overlap it. Now The way I know that this is a stack is it's hard to see, but there's this gray perimeter around this whole thing. And I've also identified this as a stack. So when I click on play, what we're going to find is that those images are layered on top of each other. Here they are. And when I click on them, they just kind of float behind, which is really nice. There's also this little arrow. So if I wanted, or if students wanted to make these larger, we could do that. And then it would make it bigger. The other thing I want to show you that's really important is that sometimes the images, depending on what kind of picture you have, sometimes the top is kind of cut off depending on what you're using. And if you notice that happening, there's something called focus points. And I would highly suggest that you do this. So when I come into my images, when I click on focus points, it's important that the entire image is shown. And if I click on this one, I just want to make sure that the focus points here, the entire image is shown. And so that's really handy as well. So that's one kind of group, but I want to show you another. So when I come down here, I'm going to click on the plus sign again. But I want to point out something that might not be easy to see through the webinar, but there's two green lines on the bottom. If I click on this one, it is going to be adding either a text box or an image box, or I can upload something into the stack that I have above it. However, if I click on the little green line down here, which is what I want to do, I now have all of my options and I can create a new group. So that's really handy. Make sure you're clicking either inside that existing stack, or if you want to create a new one, you want to do that on the outside. So this time, I'm going to do a comparison. And this is going to be with two images. When I click on this, I can select an image or I can upload something. So for now, I'm going to do an image, and I'm going to call this one, let's say, the ocean. And I'm going to go ahead and take this one over, and I'm going to compare that to the desert. And we'll just pull this one over. And since this is a comparison, let's go back to play for a second. And we need to come on over. And here it is. And notice this is a slide. So what's great about this is that as the teacher or student, you can create two things comparing, and then they can slide back and forth. This is really great with different climates, or really with any topic, like a pre and a post. To get back, I can click edit, and I want to show you something else that might be handy. Notice how when I played that back, the images were kind of small. So when I click in here, there we go. When you click in here, you have three sizes: small, medium, and large. So it defaulted to small, but I might want to make those pictures a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and click on medium. And real quick, I'm going to change my design to go vertical, because I like scrolling. I think it's a little easier to demonstrate when it's vertical. So let's go ahead and play again. And everything saves automatically. Here I am coming down, and now it's a little bit bigger. And here is a better representation of that comparison. And it was so easy. All I had to do was drag in those pictures. That was it. So I'm going to click back up here, go to the top. And now that we've added some content to our storyline, it's important to know how to share, because once this is created, we want others to be able to see our Microsoft Sway. So to do that, we come up to the top right. And when you click on share, there's a few options that are really important. So you have to consider your audience. Who are you sharing the sway with? If you are sharing it with a specific person, you can click on that and you can add their names. If you are sharing within the organization, so that means within Palm Beach Schools, you can copy this link and you can email it or post it in your Google Classroom. You can send this link in some kind of digital format. Or if you're sharing with parents or people outside of Palm Beach Schools, you can share with anyone with a link, and you would copy this link and you would send it out in a digital format as well. Notice how you also have options when you're inviting, whether your audience is to view the sway or to edit. So if this is a finished product and you want to share this with others, then it would be a view and deciding who your audience is, one of those, and you would put that link wherever you want it. If you are going to collaborate on a sway, then you would click on edit and you would decide if it's someone in the organization or not, and you would copy this link and you would then either email it to a coworker, or if two students are working together, they would share that link with each other. Now, one thing I would suggest if you are having students collaborate on a sway, I would not recommend more than 2 students at a time. And the reason for that is because every time a student adds a card, the whole sway starts shifting down. And so it's a little hard to navigate when there's more than 2 students working on a sway at the same time. Other than that, you get your link and you put that where you want it. There's also some other options down here if you wanted to require a password, so that's up to you. Once you share your sway, you can also click on the ellipse at the right corner, and you have some other options here. If you wanted to, you could create a new one. You could duplicate the sway. You could save it as a template. You could print it. You could export it. You could look at the settings, but it also has this accessibility checker and accessibility view, which is really, really great. So when we go to the accessibility checker, this is really helpful because it helps us as teachers make sure that everything we're putting to our students is universal design for all learners. And notice how it tells me, I do have a few issues here, and I know I was going fast, but if I was sharing this with students, I would make sure to fix all of these so that it's accessible to all of my learners. The last thing I want to show you is how to embed, because I had started off by this example where I had several sways embedded into one, so that you have this master sway that can be easily shared with the class or with parents or on a class website with lots of content in one place. So to do that, when you go to share, you would do anyone with a link. I would make it a view only, and this is where you would get the embed code. And when I get the embed code, I can copy this embed code. I'm then going to come back into this one, and I need to edit. It doesn't seem to be letting me get back to edit. Let's give this a second. All right, we're going to come back in here for a second. And once I've copied that embed code, I can then come to my sway and add another card by clicking on that plus sign. This is going to be a media card. And when I click on embed, and this, by the way, can work for anything with an embed code. I would come in here, I would paste my embed code, and when I play this back, it will show me my sway embedded within a sway. So we'll scroll on down, and here it is. Here's my water cycle sway embedded in my water cycle sway. Normally, of course, you would have a different one there, but just to show you the example. And this one is small. So if I wanted it to be larger, if I go back to edit, I have 3 choices: small, medium, and large. Because remember, Sway is meant to be rapid presentation design. You're not going to spend all the time with all the sizes and animations and colors and fonts and whatnot. You just have these few little choices right here, and it looks beautiful. So John, are there any questions in the chat?
I think that most of them have been answered either by myself or others in the chat. Jonathan has shared some great ideas as well. Kelly does ask, will all of the presentations be available during the summer? Kelly, I'm guessing you're asking about all of our sessions we've been doing, and yes, they are all on our website at edtechtraining.palmbeachschools.org. So you can always get to our trainings by going to our website right there anytime, and it's all available for you. Otherwise, that looks like most of the questions that have been asked.
Okay, so just remember, when you're building your Sway, you start off going to the portal, clicking on Office 365. When you land on Sway, you would create a new one or use a template, and you just start with your storyline and you just add cards as you go. And what's really great is that even if you put the sharing link in your Google Classroom or on your Google site or wherever it is that you're sharing, if you edit your Sway, that unique URL will remain the same. So any changes you make to your Sway will automatically be updated because this is live, which is really, really handy. So if there's no more questions about Sway, we'll go back over here. And as a few reminders, this webinar was recorded. It will be added to the Sway page on our EdTech training website. And all of the resources that I demonstrated are there as well. I'll go ahead and show you that. So when we click on this link, here is the Sway website page. Here is a quick introduction overview of how to do Sway. There are directions that are going to populate here in a minute. There they are. They're coming in. And then as we scroll down, if you want to use that Sway about Memorial Day, maybe use that in your Google Classroom, you can click on the link to copy it. And then as we come down, there's more examples. So that's there for you. It's taking a little bit to populate, but it will be there. There's also on this slide deck a link that will take you right to Microsoft Sway's online course if you want to learn more. And there is a link to Help in Learning. We also have a lot of great webinars coming up throughout today and throughout the week. So if you'd like to join us for our Lunch and Learn at 11:30, we're going to be joined by special guest Tanya Avrith, and she's going to be helping us learn more about Adobe Spark. This afternoon, we're going to have a special guest to help us with code.org and some great ways that you can integrate that into your digital teaching and learning. Coming up on Wednesday, we have a full day planned. 8 o'clock, we have a panel of teachers sharing more Lessons Learned 2.0, and they're going to be talking about all of the best practices that they've learned through experience of remote learning. We also have a Lunch and Learn on Wednesday from SMART, and they're going to be teaching us how to design and play with digital manipulatives for digital learning. I'm sure that's going to be great. And then in the afternoon, we're going to have some fun with the PE group. They're going to be sharing some ideas to disconnect and get active. So I hope you join us throughout today and Wednesday. We also have some great virtual events starting next week. We have been very busy planning some virtual field trips and virtual career days that teachers, I know you're going to love to join with your students. So we will have more information about that coming very soon. As the year comes to an end, we are in the midst of creating a remote digital learning institute. This is going to be on June 9th and 10th, where teachers, you can join us and you can have sessions to attend virtually and learn about many, many different topics that I know you're going to be interested in. If you'd like to register, you can go to this link down here, bit.ly/remote institute, or you can go ahead and scan this QR code. We are offering up to 10 in-service points per day, or if you don't care about the points, you can just join us and have some fun and learn a little bit more in June. As always, if you need assistance, we want to hear from you. So we have a Google form, and if you go to this link, which is case sensitive, and fill that out, we have a whole bunch of people that are monitoring that form, and we will be getting back to you and helping you with any assistance that you have. And on behalf of myself and the whole educational technology team, we thank you so much for all of your hard work and your dedication. And if you need any help with Sway in particular or anything else, you can reach me through my email. And we hope that you have a wonderful day. And John, I'm going to turn it back over to you in case there's anything I missed.
No, I think everything's great. Just remember, all of the resources are on our website. Don't forget to subscribe down below so that you can get notified all the time that we're here too. I think we have an awesome week of content for you. This being our last week of actual content design for teachers. And next week, I think we're going to have even more fun as we start delivering content for students to end the year on a high note. So thanks a lot, Dana. Thanks a lot, everyone else, for joining us. We're happy to have you. Have a great day, and we'll see you at 11:30. Bye-bye.
Bye.